Wow!
The Sopranos made household names of James Gandolfini, Eddie Falco, and the rest of New Jersey's fictional satirical setting being frequenting tough guys. Even in today's golden age of television, The Sopranos is still heralded as one of the best TV shows ever made. When the show's creator, David Chase, was first pitching the idea for The Sopranos, he was actually aiming to make a movie. The concept came from an idea he had about a mobster in therapy. When he started shopping the idea around, it was Fox that convinced him to make it for TV and ordered a pilot. While it fell through at Fox, Chase continued to try and find a network home for the TV show version of his idea. Luckily, HBO ended up taking a chance on him and it went to series. But if it hadn't aired, Chase reported he would have added an hour to the already short pilot and released it as a movie. Before Van Zandt was cast as mobster Silvio Dante, he had a very different career. He was a musician, best known for being part of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. He had left the band a brief time before being on The Sopranos and released 5 of his own albums. Though he admits his preoccupation with politics in music tanked his career a bit. Chase recalled Van Zandt's face always grabbing him on the cover of Springsteen and E Street Band albums, and he just knew the guy had to be on his show. Despite having no previous acting experience, Van Zandt became one of the most memorable parts of The Sopranos. When Chase wanted to get Van Zandt on as a part of The Sopranos, he actually envisioned him as playing Tony because of his perfect gangster look. The network, though, wasn't so keen on having a non-actor lead the series. Van Zandt agreed and came to the realization that he didn't want to steal a role from a more established actor anyways. So, they created a role for him. When Chase came to Van Zandt saying he would create a role specifically, it was Van Zandt who said he had written a treatment about a retired hitman named Silvio Dante. The rest is history. Adriana La Serpa is one of the most notable roles in the show, but she almost wasn't played by Drea de Matteo. The actress auditioned for the role of Adriana, but Chase turned her down, citing that she didn't look Italian enough. He did hire her to play an unnamed waitress in the pilot episode though. When the show went to series, he re-auditioned De Matteo for the part, and this time she wasn't going to lose it. She teased her hair up, wore a necklace that spelled her name in diamonds, and pumped up her accent to nail what Chase was looking for. It worked out, and she was officially Adriana. Jameline Sigler thought the show was about opera singers when she auditioned. Before she ended up playing Tony Soprano's daughter, Sigler was just another young actress auditioning for any role she could get. So, when she walked into the Sopranos audition, she just assumed it was a show about opera singers. Funnily enough, HBO didn't want to name the show that for fear audience would think the same thing. Fans and Sigler very soon figured out just far from opera singing the show really was. Chase admitted in an interview that the idea for Dr. Melfi, Lorraine Bracco, was based upon his own therapist, Lorraine Kaufman. Now, some bonus craziness for you. The actress who played Melfi had the very same name as the real-life therapist. Chase noted that Kaufman had the same way of cutting through BS that Melfi has on the show when dealing with Tony. He even said that he's discussed the show and characters in depth with Kaufman, leading to her plotting out her own breakdown of the family and their psychological issues. Have you ever wondered what was with Lady Gaga before she became known as a superstar? Well, she was just Stephanie Germanotta. Being a 15-year-old, the Italian-American twin guest starred on The Sopranos as one of AJ's friends from school. She appears in the scene where she, AJ, and a bunch of classmates break into the school pool to have a little fun. She looks as cool as ever in the scene, smoking and getting into trouble. If you want to catch a glimpse at one of Gaga's first forays in front of the camera, look no further than Season 3, Episode 9. The cast of The Sopranos was full of people very familiar with playing gangsters and criminals. The TV series and the movie Goodfellas shared 27 cast members. Some were guest stars and bit players, but many were some of the main characters of The Sopranos. This includes Lauren Bracco, Tony Sirico, Michael Imbriole, Franco Albanese, and Vincent Pastore. Bracco definitely plays the most wildly diverging characters between the film and TV show. You won't believe how different Karen Hill and Dr. Murphy are. Oh, speaking of Goodfellas cast members, one of the biggest of them all was almost on The Sopranos too. Liotta was approached by Chase to star in the series in an undisclosed role, but decided against it. He wanted to focus on his film career and not get bogged down by a TV show. He never revealed which role he was offered, but we have to assume that it was on the smaller side. In an interview, he said his ego was too big to accept the role, and it would have been one where he wouldn't have been able to shine. We wonder if he regrets not starring on one of the biggest shows of all time. Tony Sirico, who played Paulie Walnut, was able to play his role so convincingly because he was once an actual gangster. He was arrested 28 times during his criminal years, starting when he was just a kid, stealing nickels from a newsstand. Sirico allegedly worked with the Colombo crime family during his years as an active criminal. It was actually during one of his stints in jail that he was inspired to become an actor. He encountered an acting troupe made up of all ex-cons and decided to transform his career ambitions.